exactly as simple as it is. Honourable Chairperson, in conclusion, the IFP implores government to seriously consider the establishment of a Chapter 9 Integrity Commission, which will be able to independently investigate and prosecute corruption in our public service. The IFP supports the recommendation and the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Swart.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, as other speakers have indicated, these tax amendment proposals were part of the 2019 budget announced on the 20th of February, Minister, but have only been processed recently due to the May elections and the changes in administration. Now, we know the fiscal outlook has deteriorated significantly since February, with the budget deficit set to be far higher at 5.9%, up from February's 4.5% of GDP. This mainly as a result of slowing economic growth of 0.5%. And this then, of course, results in lower tax revenue. And, of course, on the other side, we see increased support to SOEs. As you, Minister, indicated, where does this money going to come from? It has to come from somewhere. And we see the staggering increase in the government debt, 3 trillion to 4.5 trillion, or 71.3% of GDP by 2022-23. So it's thus crucial to collect all outstanding taxes that are due. And of course, it is critical that there must be legitimacy to tax collection. Following several years of tax increases, there's very little space to increase taxes. And we know the average South African is already overtaxed. As far as these amendments to the personal income tax are concerned, the proposals, as previous speakers have indicated, aim to raise 12.8 billion from not adjusting the tables for inflation. In other words, that's the bracket creep. And this is directly going to be taken from your working class, from your middle class then, which will have less funds to spend. The other reports deal with submissions on the tobacco industry. It's also argued that steps have to be taken to address illicit tobacco industry. And there's something like 9 billion rand that should be collected. Now, the issue there is not so much to freeze an excise duty on the so-called sin taxes. We, Minister, fully support the sin taxes. But the tobacco industries obviously said that there should be a freeze on that because it will result in job losses and reduced income. We agree with the committee that the increase in illicit tobacco products is as a result of weak law enforcement and tax administration challenges at SARS, and that needs to be addressed. And so we agree that the committee needs to focus more on monitoring law enforcement to stop illicit tobacco trade, as well as monitoring the improving SARS capacity. And this is part of what was lacking in the Fifth Parliament. We must make sure that we exercise sufficient and efficient oversight. We saw in the Fifth Parliament an estimated 50 billion rand loss of revenue per year. We are now paying the price of state capture and corruption. So this is an issue which we feel very strongly about, but we regret the 12.8 billion that will come from the working class. Thank you.
Honourable Nkomo.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honourable members. Tax revenues are critical to the functioning of any democracy, even if this fact might